Then
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Prabhu.
Glory Dandat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. We'll wait for a couple of minutes.
Okay, Prabhu.
Today we will sing uh, a song by Sarvam Bhattacharya. We heard about um, how Sarvam Bhattacharya was delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. This song is called Sachi Sutta Ashtakam. 8 verses glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And yeah, you all can read in muted state. Describes the form and the activities and pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Navagauravam Navapushpasharam Navabhavadharam Navalasyaparam Navagauravaram Navapushpasharam Navabhavadharam Navalasyaparam Navahasyaparam Navahemavaram Pranamami Sachisuta Gauravaram Navapremayutam Navanita Sucham Navaveshakritam Navapremarasam Navadhavilasa Subhapremamayam Pranamami Sachisuta Gauravaram Haribhakti Param Harinamadharam Parajapyakaram Harinama Param Nayane Satatam Pranayashudharam प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं सततं जनता भवतापहरं परमार्थपरायणलोकगतिं नवलेहकरं जगतापहरं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं निजभक्तिकरं प्रियचारुतरं नतनरतननागरराजकुलं पुलकामिनीमानसलास्यकरं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं करतालवलं कलकण्ठरवं मृदुवाद्यसुवीनिकया मधुरं निजभक्तिगुणावृतनाट्यकरं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं युगधर्मयुतं पुननन्दसुतं धरणीसुचित्रं भवभावोचितं तनुध्यानचितं जगता जीवनं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुता गौरवरं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे. So we'll read the uh, we will read the translation. His complexion is the hue of fresh cream tinged with kumkum. He is the ever fresh Cupid who shoots arrows of newly blossoming flowers. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He is fond of performing noble dances. He makes ever new jokes that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is endowed with ever fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in ever new fashions. He relishes ever new mellows of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold new ways while executing the ninefold processes of devotion. He is permeated with the most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the holy names of Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names on the fingers of his hands. He is addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is always removing the suffering of material existence for mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are dedicated to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honeybees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prema. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He motivates pure devotion onto himself. He is the most attractive to his beloved servitors. He is by his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of the king of Paramars. He causes the minds of beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He plays kartals as his throat emits sweet melodious sounds, and in the vibrant notes of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dancing, thus that is infused with aspects of his own devotional service. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is accompanied by the Sankirtan movement, which is a religious practice for the age of Kali. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj come again. He is the extraordinarily brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Lord Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. His eyes, the soles of his feet, and his clothing are reddish like the color that heralds the rising sun. As he utters his own names, his voice falters. He awakens a sweet flavor of life throughout the universe. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Okay, that was something. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखम करोति वाचालं पंगुम लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Okay, this is the last slide. We are continuing. It will be a short discussion. We'll just finish this chapter. Um, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begins his South India tour, and we saw his interaction with Nitai and Mukunda and others, and how Mahaprabhu didn't want to take any servant. Finally, he agreed to the request of Nitai and took Kala Krishna Das with him. He went to the home of Sarva Bhattacharya to take permission. Sarva Bhattacharya was heartbroken, and then he requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to wait for a few more days. So Lord Chaitanya stayed in his own home of Sarva Bhattacharya for 5 more days, and then finally decided to leave. Then he went to the temple of Lord Jagannath, and there took permission of the Lord, and the pujari took a garland and placed around Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his South India tour. And then first Mahaprabhu went to Alalanath, which is around 1 hour away from Puri. All the devotees accompanied him there, and then Mahaprabhu, along with Kala Krishna Das, he left. The devotees cried, fainted, but Mahaprabhu at this point of time was like as hard as thunderbolt. We saw the great personalities also. Sometimes they are soft like rose, and sometimes they are hard like thunderbolt, and nobody can understand. And we discussed um, Vaishnavira Kriya Mudra Bhujayana Samay. Um, the the Kriya and Mudra, the activities of great personalities, one cannot understand. And then Mahaprabhu began his South India tour, and the amount of mercy Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed in his South India tour was unprecedented. He did not even show that mercy while he was in Navadvip and Puri, because it is described that Srila Prabhupada writes there in the purport that a devotee always looks for a favorable situation. Um, if somebody is favorable towards Krishna consciousness, invest your energy there. If somebody is not favorable, don't worry about it. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed by his own example. He went into a more favorable situation. And in South India, it is described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed his mercy. Anybody now, we discussed in Nectar of Devotion, there are two kind of people. We discuss in Bhava Bhakti in chapter 18th. Let's discuss Bhava Bhakti. 18th and 19th, there it is described that there are two kind of devotees who attain the stage of Bhava. One is sadhana siddhas and one is kripa siddhas. When the Lord descends, they are kripa siddhas. And most of us are mostly sadhana siddhas, although we need kripa also. But by more and more sadhana, we can attain perfection. But during the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna, they were kripa siddhas. Whoever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked, um, um, the mercy and the love that was emanating from his gentle face won the heart of everyone, and they all started following him. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by asking them to chant the name of Hari Hari, he gave them love of God, and they became contagious. And then they went to their village, and they became contagious because they got pure devotion, and they were empowered. We discussed the example of Srila Prabhupada, how he had the ability to empower his devotees. Within few months, he could empower them to create wonders. And in 10 years, how is it possible for Srila Prabhupada to have over 100 centers around the world in all different nations? Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Parivarta. Without the mercy of Krishna Shakti, one cannot. So, Krishna Shakti can empower his devotees to such an extent. What to speak about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he came to bestow his mercy? Instantaneously, he would give them the stage of Bhava and Prema, and they became so empowered. Whoever came to meet them, they were empowered with Bhava and Prema. And then villagers from different villages came to this village, and the whole village was contagious. And these people went to their villages, and they became contagious. In this way, although Mahaprabhu traveled just on the borders of the South India, like around the ocean, on the bordering cities, but by going through this, he covered the entire South India. Um, and this Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, this is the last verse we discussed. Whatever I have stated about the beginning of the Lord's tour should also be understood to hold as long as the Lord toured South India. So this mercy Mahaprabhu exhibited, this compassion, this love, this empowerment was continued throughout his South India too. And we know what all Mahaprabhu did. I mean, we will see later when Mahaprabhu went to the forest of Jharikhanda, he could give bhava, bhava bhakti to deers and lions and animals. Now our mind cannot comprehend it. I mean, giving bhava bhakti, and Srila Prabhupada writes there, well, the devotees and Srila Prabhupada, this personal experience, Srila Prabhupada wanted to empower his devotees to give bhava and prema to others through the medium of his devotees. But but we cannot give bhava bhakti to animals. That is kind of only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could do that. So unlimited mercy he showed. And then finally, the Lord came to KurmaKshetra. Now, this is okay. When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the holy place known as KurmaKshetra, he saw the deity and offered prayers and obeisances. In the Prapanamrita, it is said that Lord Jagannath took Sri Ramanujacharya from Jagannath Puri and one night threw him to KurmaKshetra. So those who know the story, Ramanuja went to Jagannath Puri and he saw that the worship was not according to the scriptures. If you see, the worship of Lord Jagannath in Puri is quite spontaneous. The pandas worship them and they don't follow many rules and regulations. So Ramanujacharya wanted to create some discipline in Jagannath temple, and when he tried to do that, Lord Jagannath did not like it, and Lord Jagannath is very pleased with pandas. So there's one lesson we can learn, that one should not judge the activities and worship performed by these pandas in Jagannath temple. They are all very, very dear associates of Lord Jagannath. So Ramanujacharya wanted to discipline them, create some timings, and proper dressing, proper aratis. So he wanted to do it. But when Ramanujacharya slept, he woke up and he found himself in KurmaKshetra. This is where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited. And the building that you see here is actually the building of Lord Kurma. We know during Samudra Manthan Lila, the Lord came as a tortoise, Kurma, to balance the Mandhana mountain, the gold mountain, churned by Vasuki and milking of churning of milk ocean. So this is the only temple. I mean, this is the main temple where there is a deity of Kurmadev, and this whole place Kshetra is famous because of this temple. Thousands of pilgrimage come every day to get darshan of Lord Kurma. That's why this place is called KurmaKshetra. Now, this is a rough map of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travel, and we will visit few of these places. So Lord went from Mayapur to Calcutta to Bhubaneswar to Puri. This is after taking sannyas, when he came to Puri, and from Puri he went to Vishakhapatnam. Just before Vishakhapatnam, there is in the South India only. Those who are from South India know there is this place called KurmaKshetra. It's somewhere here in the map, and that's all we will cover is KurmaKshetra today. There's a bigger view of very very ancient temple, few thousand years old. प्रेमावेशे हाशी कांडी नृत्य गीता कैला देखी सर्व लोकेरा चित्ते चमत्कार हैला. While at this place, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in his usual ecstasy of love of God and was laughing, crying, dancing, and chanting. Everyone who saw him was astonished. This is like Premavesh. We will see this word every time, many places. Hasi Kandi Nitya Gita Kaila. So Mahaprabhu was always in his Premavesh, imbued with love. Sometimes crying, sometimes laughing. Now, usually you see even devotees, you don't see them like unless one comes to stage of bhava and prema, that that inner joy will not reflect in the face. You see pure devotees, their inner joy is reflecting in their faces, because so when whoever sees Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instantaneously attracted by him. Just by seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone became a devotee. They began to chant Krishna and Hari and all the holy names. They all were merged in the great ecstasy of love. and they began to dance, raising their arms. While hearing them chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, the residents of all other villages also became Vaishnavas. So Mahaprabhu was raising his hand and chanting, and because Mahaprabhu's association was so contagious, the whole village followed him and raised their hands and chanted the name of Krishna and Hari. And other villages, they also came in that way. Everybody was becoming Vaishnavas. By hearing the holy name of Krishna, the entire country became Vaishnava. It was as if the nectar of the holy name of Krishna overflooded the entire country. Wherever Mahaprabhu would go, he will create a tumultuous waves of Nam Sankirtan. Kurma name se grame Vaidika Vaidika Brahmana Bahu Shraddha Bhakte Kaila Prabhura Nimantrana. In one village, there was a Vedic Brahmana named Kurma. He's also called Kurma Brahmana. Um, um, he invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect and devotion. This Brahmana brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home, washed his lotus feet, and with his family members drank the water. You see, even in Bangladesh, that culture is still there. Recently, I was hearing a lecture by His Holiness Sadhana Swami Maharaj, and he was mentioning that if you go to Bangladesh, then they would wash the feet of all the Vaishnavas who come there, and then only you can enter. So my spiritual master went there. He was very hesitant. So, but they kind of forced him, and one Maharaj, Bhakti Prem Maharaj, he visited Detroit Temple. He was staying with Advait Pan Prabhu. He came like 2 years back. Bhakti Charu Maharaj disciple, sannyas disciple. So I and Sham Krishna Prabhu, because Sham Krishna Prabhu is God brother, so he was with him a lot of time, and I was also with him with Sham Krishna Prabhu. So we both drove Bhakti Prem Maharaj to um, one devotee's home in Detroit. He was also from Bangladesh. So as soon as he went, they washed Maharaj's feet. So this is like a culture in India that they wash such pure devotees. So he went. Kurma Brahmana had a lot of devotion for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Invited, washed their feet, and drank the water. It is said by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, Krishna Pada Dhuli, Krishna Pada Jal. And one is the dust, one is the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, then the water that has washed the feet of a Vaishnava, and um, Bhakta Mukha Avashesha Tino Mahabal, and the remnants of pure devotees, Tino Mahabal. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there, it will come in future, Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says that don't doubt these, they are called Mahabal, means they're all powerful. So they can give us um, um, the Bhakti Shakti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, because a devotee is pure devotee is constantly chanting name of Krishna, his body also becomes spiritualized. Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction that if one sees the Vaishnav on a bodily platform, he becomes a great aparadhi. He becomes a great offender to the Vaishnava. So Vaishnava should not be seen on a bodily platform, because his body is constantly engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna. The body also becomes spiritualized. That's why in samadhi, the body is completely spiritual. That's why the body is not burnt. Um, Pure devotees. um, Sei pada padma tomar Brahma dhyana kare. Sei pada padma sakshat Aila Mora Ghare. Now, at some point of time in the past, this remembrance came. We discussed about the power of the dust of a pure devotee, and we saw that Hiranyakashipu was trying to control, and he wanted to kill Vishnu, and he was against Vaishnavas and cows and Brahmanas. So his son Prahlad Maharaj says, My father, your Buddhi has become brushed. You have become a very degraded personality. You are hopeless now. And then he gave a suggestion to Hiranyakashipu. He said, well, the only hope is if you take the dust of a pure Vaishnav and smear it on your body. So Prad Maharaj says that if one smear the dust of a pure Vaishnav on his body, then the desire to enjoy material material things, the material desire to enjoy will go away. So we have a lot of material desires because of our desires arise because of many factors. Now, those who have not heard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes in Madhurya Kadambini that there are um, 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 anarthas. These are all called anarthas. Um, um, Basically, unwanted habits or desire to enjoy. These anarthas may arise either because of previous sinful activities. So, when somebody, for example, Krishna says with respect to lust in Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, Krishna says, burns like fire. So, recently, just a phone conversation today, and yesterday, some devotees, some devotees were having a Bhagavad Gita call, and I was not there in that. And there was an open discussion, and one Prabhu asked this question to another Prabhu that we are grahasthas, and if we want to enjoy with our wife, then what's wrong in that? We are grahasthas, it's allowed. And this other devotee was trying to tell him that no, if there is enjoying sex life not for procreation of children, it's also considered illicit sex. So this is breaking of one of the four regulatory principles. And this devotee, I mean, he's practicing new. He was like, "What is wrong in that? I mean, we are married and this is allowed for our ashram." So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this lust burns like fire, um, and giving into material desire simply adds fuel to the fire. It burns further, and then the mind becomes absorbed and creates impressions. And then when you chant the holy name, those impressions will come in the mind. And Krishna also says, um, Bhoga Aishwarya Prasakta Nam. In second chapter, Krishna says that those who are attracted to Bhog and Aishwarya, material enjoyment, Bhog, um, 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 determination for devotional service does not take place. So when somebody engages in self gratification, um, it's like there is a fire of bhakti where we want to go deep in our meditation and we want to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But then we take a bucket of water and throw onto the fire. So it kind of uh, um, the fire of bhakti is watered down. It kind of stops. So Krishna says determination for devotional service will become very weak, and one becomes indifferent to spiritual advancement. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that there are five obstacles for one who want to cross over the stage of anarthas. If you want to go beyond anartha nivriti, five obstacles are there. One is laya. Laya means sleep. When one becomes tired, sleepy while chanting, or while hearing Shravan, or while Smaran in increasing degree. So when one is little sinful, he will um, like as anarthas increasing, there is sleepiness in increasing order in chanting, in Shravan, and in Smaran in increasing order. One time I saw one devotee. Um, he Whenever he would come for discussions, he would always feel asleep. He will always feel sleepy. So I told him that, Prabhuji, you are falling sleepy during Hari Katha. So um, that's not good. So you have to sincerely chant and overcome this anartha. So that's one thing that stops a devotee to go beyond an anartha nivriti stage. And then there is apratipatti. Apratipatti means spiritual indifference. Spiritual indifference means I don't care. So somebody, we hear somebody chanting 32 rounds. That's all right. I don't care. Somebody is doing this much. I don't care. Somebody is doing this much seva. I don't care. So this is spiritual indifference. Indifference. That's all right. That's all right. So the fire is not there to progress in Krishna consciousness, but it's like it's okay. So spiritual indifference. At the same time, if the person is asked that here is a opportunity for becoming a manager in your company, the person becomes very eager. Oh really, can I become a manager? Can my salary increase by 20%? Can I eat this gulab jamun? So he is very much interested in material sense gratification. But the moment there is an interest in enhancing one's Krishna consciousness, then one goes into a spiritual indifference. This is called apratipatti, means there is lot of anarthas in us. And one is laya, one is apratipatti, one is rasaswad. Rasaswad means the taste for material enjoyment. The taste. So as long as these things are there, one cannot cross over. One cannot become a nishtha in bhajan. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says there is anishtita bhajan and there is nishtita bhajan. Anishtita bhajan means sometimes we are enthusiastic and sometimes we are weak and sometimes we engage in sinful activities. This is unsteady bhakti. The person may externally show himself as a very steady bhakta, but he knows at some point of time, in some of the days, he also engages in sinful activities and unsteady bhakti. And there is nishtita bhakti, means the stage of nishtha. Nishtha means anarthas have reduced. Nashta prayasho bhaddesho nityam bhagavati sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Naishtiki means nishtha. So this person has attained a stage of bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Nishtha bhakti to Bhagavati, to Bhagwan Vasudev. So I don't know why we went into a um, long loop. Anyways, यही पाद पद्मा तोमार ब्रह्मा ध्यान करे सही पाद padma sakshat aila mora ghare. The Brahmana then began to pray, O my Lord, your lotus feet are meditated upon by Lord Brahma, and these very lotus feet have come to my home. So Kurma Brahmana was very respectful to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, even Lord Brahma meditate on your lotus feet. This is not just this is not just the speculation of Kurma Brahmana. Even if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 32 describes the incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the next verse describes, the next 2 3 verses describe, those 4 5 verses, this verse comes that this incarnation, who is hidden incarnation, who is Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam, and this incarnation, his feet are being meditated by Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma himself came as Haridas Thakur to assist Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and those very feet, which are meditated even by Haridas Thakur and Lord Brahma, today they have come to the house of this poor Kurma Brahmana. कृपा कर प्रभु मोरे या तो माँ संगे सहिते न पारी दुखा विषय तरंगे. The Brahma begged Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, kindly show me favor and let me go with you. So Kurma Brahmana was, sometimes when one is engaged in um, um, Vishaya Sagari, then um, one can feel lot of anxiety, and then the association of a saintly people, what to speak about association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, develop some kind of taste towards that association and renunciation towards material life because it's full of anxiety. So this Brahmana said, my dear Lord, kindly show me favor and let me go with you. I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery caused by materialistic life. Sahitena pari. I cannot. Sahana means to tolerate. Sahitena pari. Dukha Vishaya Tarange. Vishaya means sense gratification. The Dukha arising from Vishaya Tarange, the waves of sense gratification. Actually, sense gratification puts us into a lot of anxiety. People who regularly engage in sense gratification, their bhakti fire will go down and there will be a lot of anxiety and they cannot do proper Shravan, Kirtan and Smaran. They cannot do. So Kurma Brahmana said, let me go with you. This one favor I want. I don't want to stay here anymore. This statement is applicable for everyone, regardless of how rich or prosperous one may be. Narottam Das Thakur has confirmed this statement. Samsara Visha Nale Divanishi Hiya Jwale. He states that the materialistic way of life causes a burning in the heart. The sense gratification, when it burns in the when the fire for sense gratification burns in the heart, it's so much pain, so much anxiety. This is called samsara dava. Every morning we say that samsara dava nalalidha loka tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam. This I am living in this material world so much. The heart is always burning with um, so many desires, so much anxiety. But your mercy is like cooling moon rays that makes me enter into the sweetness aspect of Krishna consciousness. Is mercy of the lotus feet of Shri Guru. Ratan Das Thakur therefore says, Vishaya Chariya Kabe Shuddha Habe Mana Kabe Hema Herabo Shri Vindavana. So Narottam Das Thakur says that Vishaya Chariya Kabe, when will I give up the desire for sense gratification? Vishaya Chariya Kabe Shuddha Habe Mana. And when my mind will become purified, Shuddha, Kabe, Hama, He Rabo, Sri Vrindavana, then only I will be able to enter into the mysteries of Sri Vrindavan Dham, into the mysteries of Sri Krishna, into the mysteries of Vrindavan. Otherwise, we cannot. A person who is engaged in sense gratification will not be attracted to, cannot be attracted to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and Sri Vrindavan Dham. So Narottam Thakur says, Vishaya Chariya Kabe Shuddha Habe Mana Kabe Hama He Rabo Shri Vrindavana. So this Brahmana told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I can no longer tolerate the waves of miseries caused by it. So please show me some favor and take me with you. Actually, even if you go with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is no guarantee. One has to purify one's heart. Very good example is Kala Krishna Das. He was with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also became bewildered by the women of Bhattadharis. What is the guarantee? What is the guarantee for us? So one has to purify one's heart by non-duplicitous sadhana. प्रभु कहे ऐछे बात कभु ना कही बा ग्रेही रही कृष्णा नाम निरंतर निरंतर लाई बा. This is the only medicine. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu scolded Kurma Brahmana when he said, materialistic life, full of anxiety, burning fire, let me come with you. Means, let me renounce my family life. प्रभु कहे ऐच्छा बात कभू ना कही वन. Never say this again. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to a grihastha. He said, never say this again. Now, it's not a instruction to every grihastha based on time, place, circumstances. Same Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told two personalities, Gopal Bhatt and Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, don't get married. And he told Rup and Sanathan, and he agreed. Raghunath Das Goswami was a grihastha. He didn't tell Raghunath Das Goswami that you stay in your home with your family and take the holy name. He actually told, by the mercy of Lord Krishna, you will be free from material entanglement. So how this is inconceivable? Vaishnavira Kriya Mudra. So Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Prabhupada himself took sannyas. So this is time, place, circumstances. In general, this is the instruction that has to be applied unless one, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that. Now, this is very important verse. If you remember, um, um, if you remember, Mana Siksha, Mana Siksha, there Raghunath Das Goswami says that um, um, na dharmam na adharmam, you give up dharma and adharma. And same thing Krishna says that sarva dharma parityaja, you give up all dharma. And we see the example of the gopis also gave up all their dharma. But these activities should not be understood in an immature way. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there that unless one has attained the stage of bhava and the stage of prema, one has to work according to varna and ashrama. And when devotees wanted to give up their material responsibilities, and they wanted to go to Vrindavan and chant 192 rounds like Haridas Thakur, Srila Prabhupada said you will simply fall down. And there were some people who did that and they fell down because there are anarthas in the heart. When anarthas are in the heart, this is like fit of enthusiasm will not help us. But it has to mature, and anarthas has to go, nishtha has to come, ruchi has to come, ashakti has to come, bhava has to come. And one is so absorbed in Lord Krishna, just like the example of Raghunath Das Goswami, already on that platform. So they were given the instruction that yes, you do it. Srila Prabhupada, yes, you do it. Why? Because there is a difference of the platform. So one has to take these instructions maturely, time, place, circumstances. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instruction to Kurma Brahmana, he said, don't speak like that. And then he says, Grahe Rahi, you stay in your home. Grahe Rahi, Krishna Naam Nirantar Laiba. You always take the name of Krishna. Chant the holy name of Krishna always. And then what Mahaprabhu said, and then he said, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh, Amara agya ya guru hana tarai desh. And he says, wherever you see, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh. You speak about Krishna. These are the two instructions to Kurma Brahmana. When Kurma Brahmana wanted was very much in anxiety because of the fire of material existence. Then Mahaprabhu told him, you can overcome the anxiety of material existence if you do these two things. Anybody who is not doing these two things, the heat of material existence will burn them and they will be in lot of material anxiety. So this is the solutions directly spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Shri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this way become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this line. Now Amara Agya Guru Hana Tara Idish. Who is a guru? A guru is one who teaches, because all of you have deeper realizations and understanding of Bhagavad Gita than a common man, and because you all are chanting the holy name of Krishna, Divyagyan Hriday Prakashito, and because you all have faith in Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara, your understanding of Bhagavad Gita Srimad Bhagavatam is way more deep, clear, and realized compared to any common man. So when you speak Bhagavad Gita, you become a guru. You become a guru. There are many kinds of guru. Amara Agya Guru Hana Tara Idesh doesn't mean that you have to wait to become a spiritual master and give diksha. No, everybody is a guru. Guru of your own children, guru of maybe neighbors, guru of your family members, guru of your friends. Guru means teacher. Teach them and nirantar chant the holy name of Krishna. Then the fire and the heat of material anxiety, and be determined. It is not easy to practice Krishna consciousness. Why it is not easy? Because our anarthas are our obstacles. Unless we are consciously working on it and with determination, progressing, uh, um, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot help us. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, unless we are determined. So, what is the secret of success? Now, this is important. Kabuna baribe toma vishaya taranga punarapi eithani pabe mora sangha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahmana Kurma, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Why people want to leave their family life and go, and because they think that their family life is obstructing their Krishna consciousness. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, um, Badibe, Badha means obstruction. Kabuna Badibe, Tomara Vishaya Taranga. Your material life will never be an obstruction to your advancement Krishna consciousness if you follow this instruction. What instruction? Always chant the holy name of Krishna and Jare Dekha Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh. If you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Indeed, if you follow these regulative principles, we will again meet here, or rather, you will never lose my company. So Mahaprabhu says, you will never lose my company if you do these things. Actually, we receive lot of mercy from preaching the holy name of Krishna and by chanting the holy name of Krishna. This will develop an attraction to Lord Chaitanya. If we are preaching and if we are sincerely chanting, our attraction to Lord Chaitanya will develop. And as our attraction to Lord Chaitanya will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, we will find ourselves always with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our spiritual master and Lord Krishna. When devotee Ashla Prabhupada that you have been traveling alone, one man and Prabhupada said, I am never alone. I am always with my Guru Maharaj, which implies I'm always Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and I'm always with Lord Sri Krishna. So Mahaprabhu told this that if you always chant the holy, and you may have experience, I'm not sure if you have, if you are engaged in preaching, your chanting will advance. It will really help you become serious. So because when you speak about Krishna to somebody, actually we are my spiritual master says when we speak about Krishna to others, we as Krishna is speaking through us to us. So Krishna is speaking through us these words, and Krishna is speaking to us, and in the heart we feel, I am such a nonsense. So this is the right consciousness. If we are speaking and we think we are better than others, then um, that's sense gratification. That's just we are giving our false ego to others. But if we are speaking and then we are thinking that I am a nonsense, well, that's humility. That's the right instruction to be in. Um, um, so Mahaprabhu said, then you will never lose my company if you do these two things. This is an opportunity for everyone. If one simply follows the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the guidance of his representative and chants the Hare Krishna mantra, teaching everyone as far as possible the same principle, the contamination of the materialistic way of life will not even touch him. This is the secret of success for one advancing in Krishna consciousness. So this is the secret of success for all of us who want to advance in Krishna consciousness. Nirantar lie by Krishna naam and jare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Then your life will be successful. At whosoever house Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted his alms by taking prasadam, he would convert the dwellers to his Sankirtan movement and advise them just as he advised the Brahmana named Kurma. One has to learn humility and meek. Okay, so before we go there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wherever he would take prasadam, he would give these two instructions. So it is said that the instruction to preach is given to everybody, whoever is follower of Gaudiya. Mahaprabhu, wherever he would take prasad, he would say, Nirantar lai mein Krishna naam, jare dekha tareka Krishna upadesh. So it's not just one place he gave this instruction. Everywhere he met, he took prasadam, he would give instruction. Another thing is, a devotee, when he takes prasadam, a devotee always tries to give. He never tries to take anything. So if somebody invites you for prasadam, you can go for prasadam, but your intention is never should never be prasadam. Your intention should be service. How can I give Krishna to these people? Mahaprabhu would go just to give this instruction. Always chant the name of Krishna, Jare Dekha Tarekha Krishna Upadesh. One has to learn humility and meekness at home, following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that way, one's life will be spiritually successful. This is very important. Actually, one has to learn humility and meekness at home. Now, what happens at home? There is a kind of familiarity that develops between husband and wife. Now, see, husband wife are both Vaishnavas. Um, it's not necessary that we cannot have intimate talks or we cannot joke around or we cannot be free. If they are Vaishnavas, we can be free to the extent the relationship allows. Um, for example, um, I was staying with one devotee. This is like, I believe 2015. Yeah, 2015. in the temple, and there was um, one devotee with me. I was staying with him, and then he was cooking something, and I told him something about cooking. We were very good friends, and I told him something, and he felt bad. And then I kind of went through a little dip in my chanting the holy name of Krishna. Then I asked one devotee that why I had to go through that. He said, well, your relationship is not so mature that he could take it. So we can speak the words. Now, sometimes we joke, sometimes we even kind of say words which now what I can speak to one of you, I may not be able to speak to somebody else. It depends upon how strong the relationship is. The essence is, if somebody feels bad about your saying something, um, that's where you will experience a dip in your Krishna consciousness. So you can take the leverage to the extent your relationship allows. Um, um, and then there will be many things that somebody will say and we will not like it because we are in three modes and our mood changes. Um, so Prabhupada says that one has to learn humility and meekness at home, because the matter of fact is we will be humbled at home. We are humbled in temple also. We are Bhakti Sagar Maharaj says material world is designed to humble everybody. So we will be humbled at home, and learn to one has to learn humility and meekness at home. See, this is important because when we come to temple, when we meet devotees, if devotees say us something we don't like, we will take it with all humility. Why? Because we know that they are senior, and they are whatever respect one may have. So one may not feel bad. But if same words comes from somebody at home, then we will not be able to take it. So um, one has to learn humility and meekness at home. One devotee was telling me, great Vaishnav, great Vaishnav. His wife is very strong. Very strong means like sometimes she scold him and he is little meek and humble. So many times the small things also his wife kind of scold him. And he told me that Prabhu, every day before I go to bed, they sleep in different rooms just because when you are in contact with the object of sense gratification, you cannot trust the mind because mind will bewilder and will become weak. So they sleep in different rooms, and he was saying that Prabhu, when I every night before I go to rest, without anyone's notice, I pay my shashtang to my wife, who is in different room, and I see her as my guru because she is giving me an opportunity to become humble. I said, bro, you are a great Vaishnava. Amazing. I mean, a husband paying Shashtang to his wife, thinking that she is my guru because she is teaching me how to become humble. And by her mercy, I will develop some humility. So she is seeing as an opportunity. Otherwise, what happens? One single word can pain us. The false ego can be pained like anything. Like in recent, we see lot of cases. So uh, I'm talking about myself on just Krishna speaking through me to me. That's all. So I saw recently one person came and he gave a Bhagavatam class in the temple, and then another devotee approached him and he said, Prabhu, you spoke about this thing that was not appropriate to speak in the Bhagavatam class. So he said, all right, Prabhu. And later on, he was sharing with me that he was very much hurt. So if no names, because I'm telling it to myself only. A small thing somebody disagrees, one becomes hurt. A small word, one sentence can kind of inflate the false ego. So there is so much ahankar, um, um, so much ahankar. So Prabhupada says one has to learn humility and meekness, and once you act out of ahankar, your japa will be gone. So japa is so scary. I mean, japa requires kind of ultimate purity, If you don't have purity, that's all right. You have to act on that purity. If you make a small mistake, and it'll bleed, it'll bleed, you will get a reaction during your chanting of holy names. So one has to be very careful. Unless one is acting on Vaishnav qualities that are mentioned in one has to be really, really careful. I'll tell you one more instance. Then one has to really avoid prajalpa. Prajalpa. Raghunath Das Goswami says prajalpa takes whatever you chant 16 rounds in the morning and you get bhakti shakti, and then when you speak prajalpa, those words come out. One of the form of prajalpa that I recently noticed in among recently came to my notice is speaking about somebody on their back, whether it is speaking about finding fault, speaking about somebody's fault on their back. This is a big kind of prajalpa which will take away our bhakti shakti from us. Like, this devotee is bad, this devotee is like this. If you are sharing that to somebody other than the devotee directly, you will be incriminated. You will be incriminated. This is a disease. This is a disease. One has to be, that's why one has to be very careful. See, when we speak about bad about somebody on their back, it gives us some kind of pleasure. Some kind of pleasure. My spiritual master says, as we advance in Krishna consciousness, we have no taste in speaking bad about somebody, and that will bring you a lot of trouble. Recently, what happened is there were three Matajis, no names and nothing. One of them is not a devotee, and two are devotees, and one of them spoke about the third person, that this Mataji is like this and she's double tongued, and something more, duplicitous in behavior and something spoken. And then somehow, because this one of them was not a devotee, she kind of went and told this to other person, and it created fire in the relationship. At some point of time, it's going to come back to us. If not now, we'll be put in trouble. Karma is going to come back to us. You speak bad about somebody on their back, and it's definitely going to come back to you in such a way that somebody will speak bad about you on your back, and then it'll pain you like anything. And then if you have Krishna's mercy, you will see, um, 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 Apana karama bhunjai samana kohoi lochan dasa. My own karma, I am suffering because of my own karma. So that is another thing which is going to kill our spiritual life. So one has to learn humility and meekness at home. Develop the tolerance. Become careful with the words, with what you speak. So if you develop idol Vaishnav quality at home, you can really chant nicely at your home. However, there is a class of Sahajiyas. Okay, they are interesting people who think that these activities are opposed to the principles of devotional service. Indeed, they consider such activities simply another phase of materialism. Thus, opposing the principles of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they commit offense at his lotus feet. So they are not into now. Okay, so there are some kind of people who don't want to preach. They said, why preach? And they live in Vrindavan, and there are many such people who are called Babajis, and some of them are real good Sahajiyas. They don't preach. They criticize. They criticize devotees. They don't preach, and they engage in sinful activities in the name of Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada faced some of them. So he's telling about them. Thus, I have described the Lord's behavior elaborately in the case of Kurma. In this way, you will know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dealings throughout South India. So just like the Mahaprabhu dealt with Kurma, so see, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is not going in great detail every single home Mahaprabhu stayed and every single instruction. But he is just telling, now I have told you instruction of Lord Chaitanya and Kurma. Similar dealings happened at all 2 years. Every night Mahaprabhu will stay at one home, and sometime at multiple times also. And 2 years he was South India too. Same instruction. Nirantar laibe Krishna naam, jare dekha tare kaha, Krishna Upadesh, and if you do this, I will never leave you, will never leave me, we'll always be together. Okay. Thus, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would remain at night at one place, and next morning after bathing, he would start again. So that was his regular activities. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, the Brahmana Kurma followed him a great distance, but eventually Lord Chaitanya took care to send him back home. um, um, it's, it's known to us. This is, you will see, usually Mahaprabhu's people will love Mahaprabhu so much they cannot leave, and when Mahaprabhu will bring them so much pain, so they would follow, and then Mahaprabhu would just send them off. Vasudeve naam eka द्विजा महाशय सर्वांगे गलित कुष्ठा tate कीड़ामय. There was also a Brahmana named Vasudev who was a great person but was suffering from leprosy. Indeed, his body was filled with living worms. Tate kira maya. Kira means the worms. So his body was filled with worms. Vasudev Vipra. Ange haita ei kira khasiya padaya. Uthana sei kira rakhe sei thana. Although suffering from leprosy, the Brahmana Vasudev was enlightened. um, he was a great personality, a great devotee of the Lord, but he was suffering from the disease. As soon as one worm fell from his body, he would pick it up and place it back again in the same location. So what he would do is, a worm fell down, suppose, then he would become very compassionate, and he would see, oh, this worm is hungry and he's looking for food. So he would with love take the worm back in his hand and place it onto his body where there is a wound, and the kida will again start sucking his blood and getting his food. And that's that. um, um, Vasudev Vipra consciousness is like, they are all hungry souls. So why should they be banned from their food? uh, and then he would pick them up so they are not cause any kind of distress. So this, I mean, unbelievable, cannot be imagined, cannot be copied, but it says he was an enlightened soul. And let's see, then one night Vasudev heard of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrival, and in that morning he came to see the Lord at the house of Kurma. So he heard Lord is there, so he came all the way, because leprosy are outcast. So they came all the way back. Now Mahaprabhu left early morning, and when he came to know, it took him some time to reach the house of Kurma. When the leper Vasudev came to Kurma's house to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was informed that the Lord has already left. The leper then fell to the ground unconscious. So he became very much distressed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has left. When Vasudev, the leper Brahmana, was lamenting due to not being able to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord immediately returned to that spot and embraced him. So as he was lamenting, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has left. He was crying. Mahaprabhu immediately appeared, immediately returned to the spot and embraced him. Um, Um, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched him, both the leprosy and his distress went to distant place. Indeed, Vasudev's body became very beautiful to his great happiness, and Vasudev Vipra became Vasudev, and Vipra gone away because he was no more a leprosy. Um, mm, Vipra also means Brahmana, um, mm, and his body became very beautiful. Um, the Brahmana Vasudev was astonished to behold the wonderful mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began to recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam touching the Lord's lotus feet. So he begged at the lotus feet of the Lord and he recited a prayer. Kwaham daridra papiya, kwa Krishna Shri Niketana, Brahma Bandhu iti smaham, bahu bhyam parirambita. He said, "Who am I? A sinful poor friend of a Brahmana. And who is Krishna? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, full in six opulences. Nonetheless, he has embraced me with his two arms. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna and Vasudeva Vipra, although he is staying out in the outskirts of village, never met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he knew who Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. So he came back and he said, "Who am I? A sinful Brahmana, um, uh, a sinful, poor friend of a Brahmana, and who is Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet he has embraced me." This was spoken by Sudama Brahmana in Srimad Bhagavatam. Um, 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 Krishna's friend Sudama spoke that verse. Kintu achila bhala adamahana ebe ahankara mora janmi beashiya. Being meek and humble, the Brahmana Vasudev worried that he would become proud after being cured by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is very important. Actually, one of the disease, one of the anartha that a devotee has to be very careful is pride. Pride. Um, Success will bring pride, and if you are not very careful, then that pride will lead us to commit offenses, will lead us to displease devotees eventually, if not today. It will slowly build up. His Holiness Sadhana Swami Maharaj says, pride comes before fall. So first a devotee is very sincere and serious. Then Krishna gives him some mercy, and then he gets the mercy, and then he becomes proud. And then what happens when he becomes proud? Puna Mushika Bhava. One again falls down and one again becomes a mouse. Prabhupada told this story that a mouse came to a saintly person and said, I'm constantly being chased by a cat. Please help me. The saintly person said, what do you want? He said, please make me a cat. All right, you become a cat. So he became a cat. And then now the dog was chasing the cat. Um, so, and the cat again went to saintly person. He said, "Please help me. I'm constantly in fear because the dog is chasing me. What do you want? Please make me a dog." All right. So he became a dog, and now the dog was being chased by a lion. So the dog went to saintly person. He said, "I'm constantly being chased by a lion. Please help me." Saintly man said, "What do you want?" He said, please make me a lion." So saintly person, so be it. So he became a lion, and then he went to saintly person, and then saintly person, what do you want? And he's like, I'm hungry. And he said, I want to eat you. And the saintly person was like, he cursed the lion and he said, now you again become a mouse. So um, um, the um, the the mouse, puna mushika bhava. Mushika is mouse, and puna means again. Puna mushika bhava. You again become a mouse. One of Prabhupada would regularly say this. So the same saintly man, he was the cause of um, benefit to the mouse, cat, dog, lion, and then he tried to show envy against the saintly person. And what happened? The saintly person cursed him to become a mouse. So this is what happens when success comes. My spiritual master says it is easier to maintain a good consciousness when there is failure, because when there is failure, we tend to take deeper shelter of Krishna. We pray and we ask for all the devotees blessings and prayers, and we feel in our heart that I am good for nothing. So that consciousness is really pleasing to Krishna. But what happens when there is success? Then we think that I'm also a great soul. I can also do what others are doing. I can also, and this I becomes prominent. Then we don't see that I cannot do anything unless I have the mercy of the holy name. I cannot do anything unless my spiritual master is praying for me. I cannot do anything unless the Vaishnavas are pleased with me. Because I can chant the holy name only because Guru and Vaishnavas are pleased with me. But if they're not pleased with me, I cannot chant the holy name. If I cannot chant the holy name properly, I cannot have any transformative effect in anything I do. My intelligence will be barred and I will be completely helpless. I'm completely dependent on holy name. This goes away. The holy name goes away, the Vaishnavas goes away, Krishna goes away, and the only thought that remains. This is called intoxicating effect of pride. One becomes intoxicated, and why intoxication means it just lingers around the mind, and out of pride one thinks, I am a great soul. I am, I am, I am. So we start depending upon my abilities, my qualities, my learnedness in the Shastra, my Puna Mushika Bhava. One time I was driving with His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj, and I was driving him, and Yugal Kishore Prabhu was sitting in the front seat. No, Maharaj was sitting in the front seat next to me, and in the behind seat, there was Yugal Kishore Prabhu and Jagat Guru Prabhu. Jagat Guru Prabhu is temple president of Detroit Temple. He's leading that service there. Yugal Kishore Prabhu is leading the services here. So they both were sitting behind, and Maharaj was sitting next to me, and I was driving. So Yugal Kishore Prabhu started glorifying me, and he said, Maharaj is very intelligent. And he said something more. He is very tolerant. And one more adjective, three adjectives Yugal Kishore Prabhu used. I don't remember. And I think he's very sincere, something like that. Yugal Kishore Prabhu said. And then Maharaj said, well, um, um, he's very sincere. He's very intelligent. He's very tolerant. He's this, whatever. And Maharaj said, but I have none of these qualities. And Maharaj said, I only have one quality, dependence and surrender unto Krishna. I have no other quality other than surrender unto Krishna. But he has all these qualities. So I understood that if spiritual master is telling this means I'm very proud of these qualities. And that's why this is coming as Guru's instruction that I should take. That I should not depend on anything other than my dependence on Krishna. But the intoxicating nature of pride is when success comes, fall is coming. Another thing is when pride comes, one start offending devotees because one thinks, why do I have to take a humble position? Then those who are very sincere devotees, when one sees sincere devotees, one thinks that I can also do what they are doing. Then why do I need to take a lower position among them? I should have my own false ego in front of them. One doesn't think like that, but one acts like that. I should also have my own false ego when I'm dealing with them, and I should have my own aham. And that's the root cause of offenses. Actually, offense happens because there is a pride in the heart. There is one particular instance where where there was a doctor, there was a Prabhupada disciple, and this Prabhupada disciple went through some surgery. He came to know that both his kidneys have failed. Very sincere um, um, Prabhupada disciple, and then he was looking for a kidney because both his kidney failed. So the doctor, this is in Bhaktivedanta Manor. This is in Bombay. There is a hospital, Bhaktivedanta Manor, Prabhupada's hospital. So the doctor who was doing the operation, he had a strong desire to render some service. So when he found out that both the kidneys have failed, so he agreed to donate. The news spread all over ISKCON, and this Prabhupada disciple needs a kidney, and the doctor wanted to make spiritual progress. So he wanted to please. He heard many stories of. There are many stories of devotees that have given their life to serve other devotees. So, because of his own advancement, Krishna consciousness, he wanted to do anything to please this Vaishnava so that he can attract Krishna's mercy. So, he decided that another doctor should do my operation and take one of my kidney out and give it to Prabhupada disciple. And then he was disciple of His Holiness Sadhana Swami Maharaj, and he went to Maharaj, and then he prayed to Maharaj, Maharaj, I want to do this service, but I have one fear. And Maharaj said, what is your fear? He said, Maharaj, my fear is that I may become proud, because everybody will come to know, because when Srila Prabhupada disciples like Bhaktichanu Maharaj or any disciple of Srila Prabhupada, when they are in such situation, the news spread everywhere and everyone will come to know that this doctor himself gave his own kidney, and then he'll be glorified. So he told Maharaj that, Maharaj, my fear is I am doing this to please you and to please Guru and Gauranga. But if pride comes, everything will be destroyed. So, Maharaj, this is my fear. And Maharaj said, because you are a devotee, you have this fear. This is very healthy fear. Yet you should do to serve the Vaishnava, and you should work on that fear, and work on not becoming proud. So one has to be very, very careful. It's not the external. External humility is only external. That's not. Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. Krishna is situated in the heart. What are you thinking? What's your thought process? Are you thinking I am great? Are you thinking I can do it? Are you thinking I'm better than others? Then you will be incriminated, and then you will face spiritual problems. But if you are thinking, now what happens now? What happens is, when we take up different services, higher and higher services, then in the beginning the mood is lot of humility, that I am able to do this only by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. I am highly unqualified. But then what happens is, this natural innocence goes away with time. And over a period of few months and few weeks and few years, as results starts coming, then this natural humility will go away, and and pride will start replacing, and we won't even come to know. And it's just maybe we will go long far away, and then we look back and we will see I'm completely changed. What happened to me? What I was before? What was my consciousness before? And now see, now what happened to me? So that's how Maya works. Maya is so tricky. And Prabhupada used to say Maya takes drop by drop. Maya is so tricky. Maya will take a drop and you will feel like I still have the same humility. See, when somebody comes new to Krishna consciousness, they have natural humility. They have natural humility. But what happens? So, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says there are anarthas arising from sins, there are anarthas arising from aparadh, there are anarthas arising from piety, and there are anarthas arising from bhakti. So anarthas arise from all different angles. Anarthas arising from sin is pride because of my education, pride because of my job, pride because of my wealth, lusty desires because of my past, etc. Or how much anger I was before, now I'm carrying that anger. So these are anarthas because of the sin. But anarthas arising because of bhakti itself is pride. One, I mean, there are many kinds of pride, but there is pride because of bhakti, and there is pride because of previous achievement. When people become devotee now, it is said at the stage of bhajan kriya itself, pride because of sins will go away. One will not be proud that I am from this college, I got this rank in my IIT, and whatever, and whatever, I don't even remember the name now, and I was a topper. That pride will go away. But now new pride will come, which is pride arising from bhakti. That pride will come. This pride arising from bhakti will go away after a long time. And then there is pride, then there is anartha that arise from aparadh. When we offend devotees, then ego will become inflated, pride will become inflated, lust will inflate. It is seen that after one has crossed the stage of anartha nivritti, maybe nishtha, maybe ruchi, still one may be incriminated by lust, anger, envy, greed, pride, but that is because of anartha arising from aparadh. And that will bring the devotee, although on a very elevated platform, back to anarthas. So one may take lot of effort to cross these stages of anartha nivriti and go beyond, and one will be pulled back into the lowest, grossest form of anarthas because of these aparadhas. So, very elaborate explanation by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini about anarthas and different causes anarthas arise. So, this pride is very dangerous, and uh, a lot and lot can be spoken, but one has to be very careful. But now, how do I take care of pride? Should I give up my services? Should I don't do anything? That's not a solution. So let's see the solution from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this is the concern of Vasudev Vipra. Vasudev Vipra said, "Now I have been embraced by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and my leprosy is gone." So everybody will understand that I have received the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now imagine, just imagine, if you are Shamananda Pandit, if you are Shamananda Pandit and you receive the darshan of Shrimati Radharani, just imagine. You are you are झाड़ू लगा रहे हैं आप, you are brooming, and then you found out Radha Rani's jewelry anklet, and then Lalita Devi comes to you and she takes you to Radharani. You personally place anklet on Srimati Radharani, and she gives you a special mark of tilak on your forehead, and you come down and you look at other devotees. What will you think? ये लोग तो अन्यथा निवृत्ति हुए, मैं देखो राजरानी का दर्शन लेके आ गया. It is natural. It is natural. So much pride will come. What is the amount of pride? I am better than others. Why? Because I have something they don't have. This is anartha. This is conditioning. This is material life. I am better than others. Prahlad Maharaj was not thinking when he was when in front of Hiranyakashipu that I am better devotee than Hiranyakashipu. But it's just compassion. I want to help him. That feeling is not there that I am better than others, but that pride is converted into compassion. How can I help him or help her? How can I help my own father? I love my father. So it was replaced into that. But if somebody gets a special mercy of the Lord, and if one thinks I am better than others, then one will act out of pride, one will speak out of pride, and one will commit offenses forcibly, and one will be pulled down to the stage, to a lower stage. And this keeps on happening, keeps on happening, keeps on happening, keeps on happening, unless one comes to the stage, yeah, enough is enough. I want to go back to Godhead. I don't want now. What does Raghunath Das Goswami says? He says, the prostitute is dancing in our heart and with her paramour. And what is this prostitute dancing in our heart? Pride. Pride. I am great soul. Pride. And this prostitute. So Raghunath Das Goswami says, why are you letting the prostitute dance in your heart? Why don't you remove her and take the shelter of the sweet pastimes of the divine couple? Why are you burning yourself with the tickling urine of a donkey instead of sweet nectarian pastimes of the sweetest Lord and his sweet smile and his sweet flute? Why don't you take shelter of that divine couple and the splendor form of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu? Why are you letting the prostitute dance? So these are all obstructions. So being meek and humble, so one should be very careful. And slowly, that's why the advancement in the beginning of Krishna consciousness is very fast. Because when one comes to Krishna consciousness, one thinks everybody is great soul. I should take shelter of everybody. And I mean, I am, they are all advanced than me. And I, um, I need their mercy. One respects everybody, so much respect. You see anybody new coming to temple, they have so much respect for everyone. But what happens, this disease of pride overcomes, slowly starts tickling over a period of time. Now, one can be very strong and strict in one's behavior, but Bhavagrahi Janardana, what's in your heart? That's where Krishna is looking. Krishna is not looking external. See, you see externals, the spiritual master, you see their externals, they just walk with head high. Shri Prabhupada walking with head high, and anybody doing something Prabhupada says will say, you rascals. So see, but compare the humility of Prabhupada with anybody else's humility. So it's not the external, it's the internal. It's the internal. That one has to cultivate. So being meek and humble, the Brahmana Vasudev worried that he would become proud after being cured by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now he told Mahaprabhu, what should I do? Now I'll become proud. Now I have received your mercy. Now I have received your mercy. Now I'm special soul, better than others. प्रभु कहे कभू तोमार नाहाबे abhiman nirantara kaha tumi Krishna Krishna nam. To protect the Brahmana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised him to chant the Hare Krishna mantra incessantly. By doing so, he would never become unnecessarily proud. So Mahaprabhu said that what is the medicine for pride? He said, Nirantara kaha tumi Krishna Krishna nam. Means this is the only medicine. Chant, chant more, chant anyways, keep chanting, chant. This is the only medicine for pride, for lust, for anarthas, for aparadhas. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, when you are incriminated by aparadha, continuous chanting will nullify your aparadhas also. So, what is it that chanting cannot do? Chanting will take you back home, back to Godhead, full stop. That's all. Now, how chanting can overcome pride? See, if we are chanting and if we become proud, then we will lose taste in chanting and we will commit aparadh and we will further lose taste in chanting and then we'll suffer. And then continuous suffering through chanting will give us realization that what wrong am I doing? And then once I understand what wrong I am doing by the mercy of chanting, then I will realize what should not be done. And then I condemn myself. How can I do that? How can I say that? What kind of useless rascal I am? And then one get the realization and one thinks, okay, there's something I should not do. I made this mistake there, that mistake there. I am too proud. And then continuous chanting, chant, and slowly you overcome one area, you overcome another area, you overcome another area. So if you're continuously chanting, the holy name will will reverberate in your mind if you're doing good. If not, if you are sincere, you will naturally go deeper and look into the cause. So this chanting, and every time pride comes, this chanting will humble you. This chanting will humble you, and chanting will not dance on your lip if you are proud. Um, what does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says? The medicine for continuous chanting. He says, Trinadapi sunichana taro riva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. Otherwise, you cannot chant. And you try to chant and then you realize, I cannot chant, I don't have mercy, I don't have mercy. So slowly when Mahaprabhu actually sees that we have become very humble, Mahaprabhu will allow us to chant continuously. Krishna upadeshi kara jivera nishta achirate Krishna toma karibe angika. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also advised Vasudev, the leper Vasudev, to preach about Krishna. Krishna Upadeshi Kara. You do the Upadesh about Krishna. Okay, so we should end in 5 minutes, and we have come to almost the end of the chapter also. He advised Vasudev to preach about Krishna and thus liberate living entity. As a result, Krishna would very soon accept him as his devotee. Indeed, the only return the Lord wanted was that Vasudev preach the instruction of Krishna and liberate all human beings. So Mahaprabhu personally came back and he gave so much mercy to leper Vasudev, cured him, and then what he wants in return for giving the mercy, the only return Lord wanted is Vasudev preach. One devotee asked Prabhupada, "You have done so much for us, what can we do for you?" And Prabhupada said, "Do to others what I have done to you." Jesus Christ, the 11 apostles in the beginning, he washed everybody's feet, and one of them said, "You have done so much for us, how can we reciprocate?" And Jesus Christ said, "Whatever I have given you, give it to others." So, this is what a saintly person says, and this is what the Supreme Lord wants. Give Krishna to others. That's how you show your gratitude to what you have received. This is the process of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Each and every member of the society was rescued from a very abominable condition. I don't know about you, but I was in a very abominable condition of deep material existence. Deep material existence. So, each and every member of the society was rescued. We were rescued. Where were we? What were we doing? What were our anxieties? How abominable were our activities, our lifestyles, our food habits, our way of talking, and everything, our desires, our actions, how abominable they were. So each and every member of the society was rescued from a very abominable condition. But now they are engaged in preaching the cult of Krishna consciousness. Now, Vasudeva Vipra was in a physical abominable condition, and we were in a very overall abominable condition. Just like Vasudeva Vipra was rescued by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we were rescued from our abominable condition. So, and now we are engaged in preaching the cult of Krishna consciousness. So, they are not only cured of the disease called materialism, but also living a very happy life. And now we are living very Krishna conscious life. I mean, trying to everyone accept them as great devotees of Lord Krishna, and their qualities are manifest in their very faces. So, what mercy have we received? I mean, imagine our past and imagine people coming to us based on our past and telling you are a great devotee of the Lord. I mean, we will not be able to show our face to anybody also because we know who you are. But now people are thinking that we are great devotees of the Lord, and Vaishnav qualities are exhibiting in us. So everyone is accepting them as great devotees of Krishna, and their qualities are manifest in their very faces. If one wants to be recognized as a devotee by Krishna, he should take to preaching work, following the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then one will undoubtedly attain the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Krishna himself, without a delay. One should not become selfish. Selfish means I am happy, I don't care about others. Let me go back to Godhead and let me attain perfection. Actually, that way we will not be able to attain perfection. We will be able to please. There is called something on rid. Rid means debt. We are indebted for we were rescued from a very abominable condition. So, what Srila Prabhupada said here, the only return the Lord wanted from Vasudev is that Vasudev preach, and Vasudev always chant the holy name of Krishna. So if one want to be recognized as a devotee by Krishna, I am sure we all want to be recognized as devotee by Lord Krishna, then one should take to preaching work. Follow the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then very quickly we will attain the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Sri Krishna without delay. एतिका कहिया प्रभु कैला अंतर्धाने दुई विप्रा gala gali kande prabhu ragune. After instructing the Brahmana Vasudev in that way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared from that place. So Mahaprabhu came all of a sudden, and Mahaprabhu Antardhani, and Mahaprabhu disappeared all of a sudden. The two Brahmanas, Kurma and Vasudev. Now, Kurma Brahmana went a long way to see of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Kurma Brahmana all the way came back, and then the Vipra came back, and Vasudev, and he was crying, and Mahaprabhu appeared. Mahaprabhu cured him, gave him the same instruction, always chant the name of Krishna, Krishna, and you will be freed, and Mahaprabhu disappeared. Then the two Brahmanas, Kurma and Vasudev, embraced each other and began to cry, seeing the mercy that they both have received, remembering the transcendental qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu told many things just by the chanting name of Krishna and by preaching. He told that you will not be You will not burn in material existence even though you're living in a household life. He told to Kurma Brahmana. And he told to Vasudeva Vipra that you will not become proud. And I will always be with you. So these are clear cut instruction. If you become a guru, teach the message of Bhagavad Gita about Krishna Upadesh, and you always chant the name of Krishna Krishna. श्रद्धा करी ए लीला ये करे श्रवण आची राते मिलाए तारे chaitanya charana. One who hears these pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great faith will surely very soon attain the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I hope we all hear with great faith so we can attain the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya ra leela ra adi anta nahi jani, सही लिखी ये महान तेरा मुखे सुनी. I admit that I do not know the beginning or the end of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. However, whatever I have written, I have heard from the mouths of great personalities. So here we see that Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, we know his divinity, what all he has done. And he is telling that I don't know Adi Anta Nahi Jani. I don't know anything about pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. But whatever I have heard, I am repeating. And whom he had heard from? He has heard from the diary of Sarup Damodar Goswami. He had heard personally from Raghunath Das Goswami and also from the diary of Mukunda Dutt, and he is repeating as it is. इथे अपराध मोरा नालाइयो नालाइयो भक्तागणा तोमा sabara charana mora ekanta sharana. O devotees, please do not consider my offense in this regard. Your lotus feet are my only shelter. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is telling, I don't know anything about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm just speaking whatever I have heard. Please don't consider any offense, my offense in this regard. Your lotus feet are my only shelter. So this is Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padayara As Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Das, praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I Krishnas, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. So thus we come to the end of Madhya Leela, chapter number 7. And we will begin with Madhya Leela, chapter number 8, which is conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. Ramananda Roy um, is um, maybe I think Vishakha Devi, but I will confirm it next time. Either Lalita Devi or Vishakha Devi. Ramananda Roy is, I believe, Vishakha Devi. Okay. So that's all. Are there any questions from today? Okay. So if no questions, then we can end here. Vancha kalpatarubhesha kripa sindhubhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी एंड माता जी. हरे कृष्णा.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण. धन्यवाद.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू. हरे कृष्ण.